Welcome to the Fearless Warrior Retreat. We are doing the college panel. So we're going to do introductions, and I have 4 amazing women and athletes, and what they all have in common is that they're all Huskers. Yay, go Big Red! So today, I'm actually going to work in reverse order. So we have Abbie Squire, we have Jordy Ball, we have Lauren Kimson, and we have Hannah Kimson. And they are all going to give you guys an introduction of their names, their grade, what positions they play. And how about this time, what's your favorite place to eat in Nebraska? If you were going to take them somewhere, where would you take them to lunch?
I'm Hannah Kimson. I'm a junior and I'm a pitcher outfielder. And I was good for lunch. I'm Lauren Kimson. I'm going to be a junior, and I'm a pitcher and an infielder, and I would go to the pepper shop.
I am Jordy Ball. I am going to be a senior. I'm a pitcher, and I would definitely say runs up.
I'm Abbie Squire. I'm a figure senior, outfielder, and I think I would choose Laszlo's. Yeah.
So we are all here because we all play softball. So these are going to be a couple of questions that I'm going to ask them to share. But the point of this is that you guys get to ask questions. So if you're here with us, make sure you write down your questions so they're ready to go in the notebook. And then if you're on Zoom, make sure you type your questions in the chat. And then when it's time to do questions, we're just going to grow up. Sound good? So the first question I want to ask is, we're all here because it's the only softball camp where you leave your glove at home. And so I think we talk a lot about the physical side of the game. I want you guys to pass the mic and talk about, what does the mental side of the game mean to you? Why is it so important?
I think it's probably the most important thing. I think that in high school and just like growing up, I never really on everyone tells you it's the most important thing. Like everyone in college, you're in high school, and you're just like, really? And then you get to college, and I'm like, oh wow. I think the mental side kind of hit me like a shock a little bit. It was like you didn't realize how hard things were going to be, or how you were going to react to just like being went wrong and softball being hard. And so I think that just like leaning into the people around you and really like prioritizing it, because if you don't prioritize it, so it's going to be hard to make it better. So I would say I would definitely say when you get to college, a lot of the kids on your team are the best on their team. So basically, you all are kind of at the same point. Like no one's really struggles physically with softball. You all are very good who's made it to that point. So I would say the mental side really separates who makes it and who doesn't. I mean, when you struggle, it's really hard to fall into the hole, and I've fallen into the hole. But you just have to pick yourself back up and lean into the people who believe in you, and your confidence is everything when you struggle. If you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to work. And you can say, oh, I believe in myself when I struggle. It's really easy to say it, but you have to believe in it for it to work.
I would say that one of the biggest things I've learned about the mental game is that you can do all the work you want physically, but if your mind is not right, you're not going to be able to even tell on the field if you put in the work or not. That's one of the most frustrating things, is because as athletes, like, we all put so much work in. You have schedules that you follow, you lift, you can eat right, you could get your bullpens in, do a bunch of practice on your own. But if it comes to competition day and you are not confident in yourself, you doubt yourself, you're just not in a good place, it's not going to show up on the field. So I've learned, especially in college, you got to put in all the physical work, which you do, but if you don't put in the mental work as well, you're really doing yourself a disservice.
Echoing what all of them said, but I think for me, especially as I've gotten later in my career, when your body starts to like not be able to deal with score reps, there's been like studies done that show, like, there was a guy, he was like I think a prisoner of war or something, and was like overseas, and he in his head would like play like 18 holes of golf in his mind, and he came back and like played the best game of golf he's like ever played in his life. So your brain doesn't know the difference between physical work and mental work. And so as I've gotten older, I've just grown to appreciate the mental work because my body can't do as much as it used to.
So let's get into specifics. What are some of the mental skills that you really latched onto? How did you discover it? And so I know you're a coach and I know some of the skills that you guys do, but it's not often talked about, right? So it's that competitive advantage, that secret edge. Ooh, you know, we really want to talk about what gives our team secret advantage. But obviously, your coaches are happy you guys have classroom sessions. And I think that's something that some of you guys may not realize is in college, a lot of their practice time is not on the field. So they're doing film review, they're doing scouting reports, they're doing visualizations. So I would love for you guys to kind of talk about what was that like when you went, you know, to all your different schools, when you discovered we are doing the mental reps, and what were some of those specific skills that your eyes were open to, and what have you kind of kept in your mental routines?
I would say for me, obviously, I haven't experienced like any of the classroom sessions that transfer. But at my previous school, we had like our paid notebooks and things like that we were writing. It was better for me to write down more mindset things when it came to hitting instead of like physical adjustments. Like so considering your rise ball or like how you're talking to yourself in those moments, like you're facing the next teacher on Sunday and you're boxing at the rise ball. You put yourself boxing at the rise ball, you're going into the rise ball. So I think just like really leading into like writing down my mindset settings and things that are like something that's constant for me, something I can tell myself every single time or doing all that. Every pitch and really focusing on how I'm talking to myself. I think it's really easy to say, oh, I played like that. Okay, well, that's not gonna help me more. So just things like that. Outside of self-talk, I would say breathing helps me a lot. When I caught my freshman year, there was a lot of them. I hadn't caught in a while, so it was really overwhelming for me when I first started. I mean, I was catching pitches that I haven't caught before. It was worrying about the runners, worrying about the play, worrying about where I need to tell my teammates to throw the ball at. So I would say like just taking a deep breath before each pitch helps me a lot, just to clear my mind and just reset. When your mind races, you can't think. And so just resetting after everything, or even when you get back in the dugout and it's batting, and like just taking a minute for yourself to like reset and calm yourself down to go out there the next inning.
One thing that has helped me a lot is learning how to, as I develop, get older and further along in my career, is learning how to categorize information. And what I mean by that is being like in tune with how I am responding to say each pitch. If I'm in a bullpen, I found myself that it was either good or bad. There was nowhere in between. Even if I made a minor adjustment, but I didn't love the pitch as a whole, it was horrible. And so I found myself a lot of the time just getting really frustrated, and sometimes I still find myself there, but kind of giving myself the grace of the gray area. Like, okay, that was better, wasn't great, but it was still better than the last one. And so that's been huge. But yeah, I would just say being aware with your self-talk, and I think it's kind of funny sometimes to focus on like talking to yourself like your own best friend, like we talk about that, but in reality, in the heat of the moment, it's very rare that you're gonna, as a perfectionist, throw a pitch that you don't like and be like, it's okay, just do better on the next one. So instead of trying to be at that extreme, just kind of being more in tune with, okay, how can I categorize this differently to where it's not just plain horrible, but still better and step in the right direction.
I think my favorite mental or like performance skill would be visualization. And I didn't use this at all until college. Now we have film sessions obviously and have access to film on our own. And so one thing that I love to do is like, I don't really watch a whole lot of film for like defense, but offensively I like to watch our pitchers and then just like, I'm also a big feel person, like to feel my swing and being able to like see the pitches from behind the plate and know how and visualize and like I'll literally close my eyes and like feel myself swing, like hit that well. So yeah, it's just like another way for me to gain confidence without even taking school reps. And that's, I know you guys probably don't have them, but as you grow and ensure to have those tools, really.
So I'm gonna open it up to you guys now to ask them questions. And so we'll start with our retreaters in the room. And so I thought it would be really fun. We're on camera and recording this. This will be also aired on the podcast. So if you have a question, you need to come sit in my seat with a microphone. So can I get 3 questions? We'll queue them up. Who do we have? Okay, we got London. London's 1. We got Harper 2. We got Carly 3, and Laura will go 4, okay? So London, come on up.
Especially for Jordy. They artists and because they're like we each other so to like just stay positive. So you guys can like do that.
I think for me, kind of like Jordy talked a little earlier, just like finding a way to give yourself grace. Because the picture, I mean, involves softball, you're gonna fail a lot, not everything's gonna be perfect. But I also think for pitching too, when I'm struggling, I really have to like tell myself just move on. Like, one pitch, I might get a home run on one pitch, but if I let it affect the next pitch, so it starts to get really bad. And I'm very hard on myself, so sometimes it's very difficult for me to let myself move on. I like to carry it with me. So I would say those to giving myself grace and just moving on from pitch to pitch and not carrying it into the next one.
So 2 things. If I'm gonna talk bullpen setting, then also in game. So in the bullpen, if I'm not doing well, it doesn't feel good, I usually go all the way back to square one and slowly build back up to full. So by that, what I mean is, if I'm not feeling great, but I'm still expecting the best movement at the right spot and to hit all those things, it's gonna be really hard. So I go, okay, first thing, let's get on time. So the only thing I care about is time. I don't care where the ball goes, I don't care if I'm hitting the spot, I just wanna feel that I'm on time. Once I'm on time, okay, let's get the ball moving. So still not worried about spot, I'm just focused on movement here, on time and movement. And then once I have that built back up, then I start focusing on location and actually hitting spots. So usually if I'm struggling, I have to make it as simple as possible. So going back to, again, just focusing on one thing, movement, or timing, movement, location. But if you're in a game, you don't really have the time, obviously, to break all that down and just start from square one and build back up. So in a game, I might have 1 or 2 mechanical cues for myself, but otherwise, it's like, okay, I'm not at 100% right now, but can I still compete? And usually having the mindset of, I'm not at my best right now, but I'm still gonna out-compete the hitter and batter spots, that helps me stay in a competitive mindset, which still, even if I'm not having my best day physically, you can still win if you're competing. So just kind of almost making it a challenge amongst myself, like, okay, you might be having a C day, but can your C day still compete and beat people?
Ooh, love that.
What's something that you
Harper,
guys would do-
Harper,
What's something that you guys would do like after a strikeout or when you like you strike out looking for there's a foul that you make in a different position 2 strikes or like a pop fly. And like for example, in our last game is my last at bat of the season and I hit it out one drive to the left field and she caught it. And if she wouldn't have caught it, we could have scored more runs in one game possibly. What's something you guys would have done with that?
I think for me, like, especially in games, like, if I'm not succeeding hitting, like you said, popping it up, striking now, I try to focus on more of like, not in the moment, instead of like, what's next? Like, how can I change what happened in that at bat to be better for the next one? Instead of like being so upset that I struck out or that I popped the catcher or whatever it is, focusing on like, what I did in that moment for that to happen and what can I do to make it better for the next at bat.
Yeah, I would definitely say the same thing, like kind of reflect and move on, like if I
get out on the easy pitch, I think to myself, well, as long as I'm swinging at strikes, do it that on time, things like that, and then after that, if it's things I can't control, then it's just let me move on and learn from it. And because if you think about past that bat, it's not gonna make it any better for the rest of the game. So you sit worried about the last strike that you had, and after that, it's still not even very good, because you're still worried about the last.
Everything that they said, I also agree with. And then just another thing is making sure that your body language remains constant. So whether you're hitting and you get out, the way that you make your way back to the dugout is huge, because the other team sees that, your team sees that, and if any ounce of you shows defeat, the pitcher who just got you out sees that, and that gives her more confidence and power, but your teammates also see that, and it takes confidence and power away from them, because they see defeat in you, and then they're gonna feel it, even if they haven't even gotten to the plate yet. So staying up, staying confident, and how you move around, that's huge. And same thing, like if you're on the field and you're a pitcher, you just give up a home run, your body language should look the exact same as if you just struck the girl out. And that sounds kind of crazy to say, but it's so true. Like, so if you're watching a game on TV and you just turned it on, like right after a home run got hit, you should have to hear the announcers like talk about that to know that happened. No one should be able to see that defeat in your body language.
I would say talk to your teammates, like, just the more you can be external and like just get out of your own head and just talk to people, like get your mind off of it and back on some game. Or like that the last game, I mean, it is what it is, we play a hard game and sometimes ball so bounce what you need it to. So yeah, I would say just get out of your own like thought cycle and just talk to everybody.
Like, so after you win like a big game, how do you go back to normal, like, everything like life?
I would say for me, like after you win a big game, I like to stay like really level-minded, just not getting too high or too low. Because I feel like whenever I find myself riding the lows or the highs too much, that's when I find myself like my mental side of things really starts to struggle. So just really finding myself to stay like really level-headed and just enjoying it in the moment, but being ready to move on to the next. I would say kind of the same thing, especially like if you're a lot of time in college play a series or 3 games, and if it's first game you walk it off, you kind of have to celebrate in the moment, but you also can't ride it too long, because you're really going to play the next day, and not one doesn't carry over to the next day. So just celebrate in the moment and then kind of move on from that.
Yes, I agree with everything they said. Consistency is huge, and just remembering, okay, what was the process that got you to that success? And now that you've had that success, you have to keep that same process in mind, if you want to have more success. So there's always gonna be more games, there's always gonna be another person out there who wants to beat you. And if you let the success over your process, then you're gonna really ride the roller coaster. So just consistency.
I would say don't forget to enjoy it. Like, I don't know, I think it's easy to like, at least for me, like I've always been someone that's just like, okay, move on to the next, then I don't actually enjoy like the big thing. Like there is times I like enjoy it. But yeah, just finding the line in the like right amount of time where you can enjoy it or getting back.
I think for me, whenever I find my anxiety getting bad, like I can feel my heart start to race and like then my thoughts get all jumbled up and I can't even think. So I think for me, to help myself like keep my heart rate down and things like that, it's just really focusing on my breathing. When I feel my breath starts to get really short and really fast, then I know like, okay, I need to calm down and take a moment, just even if I have to take an extra couple seconds between pitches, just things like that, and really being consistent with, like for pitching, like how much time I'm taking between pitches and not letting myself rush. I would say the big thing is. I would say if it's not breathing, to find someone to talk to about it. For me, it's easy because I have a twin sister, but when I start to like
get like breathe heavy and my spine starts to wrinkle, I just tend to like get it out. As soon as you get it out, it's out, and you're not internalizing it. And it's like, oh, thumbs up in a bottle, ready to explode. You get it out, and then you can, I find it easier to move on with it out. I would say, with anxiousness and feeling that while you play, a big thing that comes with dealing with that is just keeping perspective of what it really means. And the game of softball is going to end one day for everybody. So I think it is so important to know who you are outside of the game of softball, because in the moment, whether you have success or defeat, that's when you can truly play free, is when you know that win or lose, you're good. Like, you know who you are, you know that you're loved, you know that this is such a small piece of your life that you get to play the game of softball. So just, it's not make or break. And I would say in big moments where I might feel my heart rate start to go up, I tell myself, okay, eyes up, eyes up. And I usually look up, and that's my way of just reconnecting with God. And almost every single time I just feel peace come over me, because it's like, okay, this is really very insignificant. I don't want to stress too much about this moment here, because it's a blessing to even be here and be able to play here, and just kind of it puts in perspective of this doesn't matter that much. So.
I would say one way, they kind of talked about like when you're feeling that like currently at the time or like after, but I think one way to just prepare for it is to make practice hard, which is not accountable, and sometimes it sucks when you're in practice and you're like barely hitting the ball or just really struggling. But I think if you can practice, if you can make practice harder than the game ever is, then it helps the anxiety. Just work in there, yeah, so.
How do you, or how did you deal with teammates that have poor attitudes and show minimal effort and what you
I think that, I think that for me, it's just like, it's all about like what you're comfortable with as a person to do. There's some people who are really comfortable with just calling the person out and being like, hey, like, don't do that. And there's some people who that's not really their cup of tea. They don't really want to ruffle feathers or call them out. So I think it's finding what's comfortable with yourself and also knowing how that person responds to it. There's some people who don't respond very well to being called out in a group setting. So maybe just one inside after practice, hey, what I saw today needs to be better, or I know, just knowing like that you're saying it to them for the best interest of themselves. Like, you're not saying it to be a mean person or because you don't like them. Like, you're saying it because you care about them and you know that they can be better. So I would say
I would say that, and also just leading by example. It's a lot easier to get everyone on board if you're doing it as well. I mean, no one's gonna follow somebody else who's over the motion. So I would say leading by example is one, and then like you said, knowing how they respond. If they don't want to be called out from a group, on them aside, or just aggressing at your team, because team chemistry can really break once you ruffle others, I think. So it's really understanding how your teammates handle things as well. Yeah, I mean, that's like basically everything. But I would say too, like me and Abbie, we are both captains, and the way she would handle that situation is probably different than how I would handle that situation, and the next person would handle that situation. So again, like knowing what you're comfortable with, what your best approach is gonna be, will be big, but also, like they said, know how that other person is going to respond, know the best, most effective way to do it, because it's gonna be different for everybody. But I think that team first is the best way to go about it. So first, you can't let the negativity override everything else that's going on in the game. So try to like be even more positive and try to make that something that's not even noticed in the dugout. And then also, if you do call the person out, not like, hey, you can't do that, but be like, hey, our team needs you. That's not helping our team right now. And make it about the team, not the individual.
That's exactly what I was gonna say, it's not to make it on an individual level, like Jack, maybe one person that's like having poor behavior ever or whatever, but I think if you can bring it back to the team and what mission and goal and like culture of the team is, the better. Because that person then like, okay, yeah, maybe they're disappointed that they're not playing or whatever, but everyone, whether you're riding the bench or you're on the field or you're injured or whatever, everyone can contribute to creating a positive like culture and like moment. So I think just bringing it back to.
Okay, so if somebody on your team is playing the position that you like playing or you usually start in, and they're playing it a lot better than you usually play it, or than you playing it in that game, having like a bad game or something, how do you not feel jealous and try not to dim your light and try to like reflect on theirs and get better reviews?
I would say probably just being there for the person in front of you. I think in softball things change really fast, so I think finding out how you can be the best teammate and be the most supportive for them and cheer them on, because at some point it'll be your turn too. So I think that learning to like wait for your turn, but also learn how to be the best teammate in the moment, because when it's your turn, they're gonna treat you the same in return. I would say.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, I just went through this past year. I mean, I was a starter my freshman year and I came to my sophomore year and kind of thought I should have been a starter and I wasn't. And so, yeah, I was upset in the moment, but you have to get over it. If you let it play out, it's gonna make things worse for you when you get your turn. So you also have to be there for the person, but you have to be there for yourself. If it's not your turn, you need to be there cheering them on, because if you're sitting there crying and pouting about it, then when you get your turn, you're probably not gonna do very well because you're so worried about why it wasn't your turn.
I would say you should be that person's like number one fan and number one supporter, because as a competitor, if you look at that as, man, the better that they are, the more they're doing me a service. Like, they're not gonna let me take a rep off. They're gonna hold me to a high standard that I'm gonna have to be at every day. They're gonna make me go the extra mile and dive for that ball instead of just letting it get through the infield. They say iron sharpens iron, and so as a competitor, if you're battling for a position, you never want to hope that person messes up so you get a turn. You want them to have the day of their life every single day, because that's gonna make you do the same thing. That's gonna make you be ready never to take a pitch off.
I really don't know if I have anything to add, I think the best thing you can do behind them is to work as hard as you can, and make them better too. But yeah, I don't know if I have anything to add.
So like, how do you find a medium between overthinking a play and underthinking? So I find myself overthinking a lot, of like, here's what I do with this and this and this, and if I have it, I go, here's a good thing, and then like, I'll overthink to the point where like, I'm thinking 7 steps ahead, and I don't even focus on the like first part.
I would say for me, it's just keeping it as simple as possible. I think that like, it's different for me in like every position, but like when I'm in outfield, I think it's like, okay, did this hit on the ground, where would I go? If it's in here, where would I go? How many are out of there? Keep it like that simple. I think that, like you said, when you start getting 7 steps and forget about like the first step even was. So I think that keeping it really simple and finding ways that like you remember things the best, like maybe there's certain keywords that you said for to remember first signing, things like that, that will help you remember the first step and the last step.
I would say that just trusting yourself too. You've all played softball for a really long time, so if you bobble it, your instincts are gonna kick in. You're gonna know what to do when you bobble it. Just go over the basics like the outs, where the runners are, reach you over to right out, and things like that. But you're gonna know where the ball's sitting, what you should do. So don't overthink it too much. Just trust yourself that you know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I would say have in mind where you're going if the balls get to you, but don't like start going down the rabbit hole. So if I bobble it, I'm gonna go here. Only think about what you're gonna do when you feel it cleanly where the play's at. Because at the same time, I would say be around the game as much as you can, learn the game as much as you can, because that's gonna help your instincts even more. And also, like, if your teammates, like, they communicate really well, if you bobble the ball, they're gonna already like see the runner, know where the play's at, 2-2-2, like that's gonna kick in, you're gonna hear that from them and react. So just know the game really well, trust your instincts, and only think one step, only think about, okay, I'm feeling this, how the game's going here.
I think so much of the game also is just like reaction. Like it's easy in practice to just like kind of go through the motion and like, as an athlete, it's like, okay, if this ball hits me, I'm going to. But like, there's so much more, whether it's like the run speed or like, just, there's so many different circumstances that can happen within play. And so I think a lot of it just comes down to like, one, like trusting your instinct and just like going with it. And then I always say like, if you make a decision, just like stick with it, because if you second guess it or whatever, then it's like, too late. So it's like, if you make a decision and it's the wrong one, you can learn from it, but if you just sit there and don't make the decision, then it always just makes it worse.
What kind of mindset do you guys have when your next step to that and you switch things?
I would say switch pitchers. Usually like in college where they would switch pitchers on my previous team, they would give you a baseline of what, come up to you, give you a baseline of what the scout was. So I would say I like to just keep it simple when I'm seeing a pitcher, try to see it as many pitches as possible and honestly just compete. I mean, whoever's out there, I wouldn't say that my mindset changes much from pitcher to pitcher, just competing and how can you have the best at bat possible. You can still have a great at bat and get out. So I think just thinking to myself, what can I do in this moment to make it the best at bat possible, see as many pitches I can for the next person.
Yeah, I would say my mindset doesn't really change either, just about competing in the moment, knowing that whether it's their ace or whether it's their fifth straight pitcher, that whoever it is, they're not gonna beat you, and having the confidence that no matter who it is, like, they're not gonna beat you, literally, like, tell yourself. Yeah, I would say that's kind of tough sometimes because you might not have as much information on that pitcher, like you might know a little bit about her, but no one's seen her yet, right? So the communication from the bat to bat, you don't really have that info. But again, like your mindset of go up there, be athletic, like everything's gonna be earned if she's gonna get anything, you know what I mean? So having that mindset of like you're still competing, you're gonna be athletic, and your mindset overall should never really change.
I think there are a lot of things you can do as like that first hitter. It's kind of like a lead off. Like there are so many things that you can do to help your team, even if you don't get on base or if you don't get a hit. Like the more pitches that your team can see, the better. And so if you're able to see 9 pitches or whatever and you end up getting out, think about how much confidence that gives us time to. And then I mean, sucks for you, but sometimes that just happens. Like if you can give your teammates confidence. So now I have compiled the questions from Zoom. So we're gonna go kind of in a different order. So the first one is Caitlin from Wisconsin. What mental blocks have you faced and how have you overcame them?
I would say that I faced a lot. I think that my freshman year, I did more pitching, so I was really confident in that area and I was confident at hitting. And I think that it was really hard for me. I was getting those pitch at bats and that's very hard to do. And I think I was putting so much pressure on myself, like I couldn't even I would hit a hard ball and I would still be bad because I got out. So I felt like I had to make it. And I think that instead of relying so much on the result, I had to rely on the little wins, like, okay, we'll do set battles and everything else, and things like that. And then my sophomore year, there was a time in the middle there where I really struggled pitching wise. I was probably at the worst of my confidence as ever been pitching. Like I literally could not throw darts. I mean, it was bad. And I think that I lived in my thoughts so bad, like even on the mound, like I could barely think straight because I was in my head so bad and trying to like, oh, things that are here, what adjustment can I make here? And I was literally overwhelming myself with my thoughts. So I think that those are some big mental blocks of mine and just trying to keep my thinking clear so when that does happen, I don't make it bigger than it really is.
Yeah, I would say for me, my freshman year, a lot of things went my way, and I never really had to worry about then I got to my sophomore year and I doubted myself a lot. I mean, like I said, I wasn't the starter opening day when I started all the time last year. So every time I was up, I was like, oh, I gotta prove something, I gotta prove that I deserve this, I gotta prove something to everyone. And so I put a lot of pressure on myself, and then when it didn't happen, I worried about the what if. Well, what if I don't get hit? What if I miss this ball? What if? And I just consumed myself and my thoughts and never really got out of my own head. And so I never turned things around in my sophomore year, and that was on me. But I think that I lived with a lot of doubt, so self-talk really helped my freshman year. When I look back on it, I had a lot of success because when I did struggle, I was like, well, I hit the ball hard, but next time I'll have like just thinking about like little wins instead of big wins, instead of like, oh, I gotta get a hit this time. And thinking, oh, let's just have a good at bat, let's just win this next pitch. Helped me a lot between my freshman and my sophomore year.
I would say going into my freshman year, there weren't really a lot of expectations. I never played college softball before, didn't really know what to expect, and then I had an okay year. But then going into my sophomore year, it was like, okay, everything that I did the freshman year, now that's the bar. If I drop below there and I underperform compared to my freshman year, now people are gonna think I just got lazy. People are gonna think I quit working. It's gonna be a failure. And I started to kind of play with that fear. Of, I don't know, maybe struggling with perfectionism, trying to be too perfect, trying to meet these expectations. And so over time, like I kind of was putting myself in handcuffs when I was pitching. It got to the point where like if I didn't even know where to look. So it's like if I look at the catcher's glove or if I look at the catcher, I would be way high. If I looked at the ground, I would spike everything. Like if I looked like a plate, that's what I mean. So I finally like reached a point probably mid-season where it's like, screw it, I'm not gonna look at anything. I'm not gonna look at the catcher, I'm not gonna play. And I started looking at the ground like 6 feet in front of me. And I would pitch looking at the ground 6 feet in front of me. And what that did is it kind of took the target out of it and it just let muscle memory and my body like take over because I knew what it felt like when I threw a good pitch. So I just focused simply on that feel and took like the execution of location, like everything out of it. And that really freaked me out. It was crazy, like how much you can control a pitch just by knowing what it feels like. Like if you have a vision, what you want a pitch to do, I can close my eyes and feel what that is like coming off my fingers. So it kind of was almost pitching in game, like with that mindset. So that like really freaked me out and it changed everything.
I think just expectation can like sometimes kill like the joy of the game. And so kind of like Jordy said, I think as a freshman coming in, like I just didn't really have any expectations. Like I didn't really feel like I was good enough. I didn't really feel like I was good enough to be there in the first place. But then I started to realize like when I got there, like I started to realize like, oh yeah, like I can play this level. And so that just kind of from like hard work and confidence building in the cages and stuff. But then I would say as you get older, like she said, I think it almost gets harder because you start to like, oh, I had a really good year last year, and so I need to be able to outperform that. And now they have my scouting report, and they have so much more information on me, and so it does get like more difficult, I would say, because people have so many details about who you are as a player and your strengths and weaknesses. But yeah, I think being able to just play truly play the game pitch to pitch. And like find joy in it, the relationship with your teammates because yeah, the more you like set expectation for yourself, which I mean it's good to set goals, but if you're just constantly like trying to live up to your own expectations, it feels so much fun.
This question comes from Ella from Ohio, specifically to Jordy, but I know other of you guys can answer this as well. Jordy, how did you mentally recover from your ACL injury you're still working with?
I would say like I was totally shocked by what the true like range of emotions were. So I would say right when the injury happened and I didn't know what was wrong, like to go down in the third inning, I would say for a little bit I felt fear. Like what was that? Like it really scared me. I'd never felt anything like that before. But then the next place my mind went was, oh, you better hope there's something wrong. Because if you just walked off the field and nothing's wrong, like you're soft. Which is really funny, but that's where my mind went. And then I would say, once I got back into the United States, got an MRI, like leading up to the MRI, like I was able to walk fine at that point. I still had like limited range of motion. I really didn't think anything was gonna be seriously wrong. But then once I got the MRI results, the first thing I felt was anger. Like I was mad. But that seriously lasted for like 5 seconds because then immediately I turned to my athletic trainer and I was like, okay, so I'm redshirting and when can I get surgery? So it went straight from anger to, okay, plan of action. And then seriously, like, once I woke up from surgery, I was like, okay, so we got like 9 months now. And throughout those 9 months, I felt just a huge sense of peace come over me because like my entire college career up to that point had just been so mentally and physically exhausting. And I also thought to myself, okay, since probably middle school, I've never taken more than 2 weeks off because I feel the pressure as an athlete of, okay, if I take too much time off, people are gonna pass me up, people are gonna outwork me, I'm gonna get lazy, I don't want to form that habit of just taking time off. But this was kind of time off in a sense that I didn't really have any say in. It was truly God's way, I think, of just giving me the breath of fresh air that I needed. Like when I was in Oklahoma, I was homesick, I was far away, I was not in a good place mentally. I transferred home because I'm like, okay, I can't be in this headspace anymore. I get back home and I still find that some of that's lingering. But truly, like taking this break is just been a breath of fresh air. And so I would say I haven't really had that many bad days, maybe like 1 or 2 really early on, where I was like still in a huge brace and everything, and it was super painful. But I haven't had a lot of bad days. I would say I've been very thankful for the rest.
Okay, I'm just gonna add, cause I live with Joe, so like, just like getting to watch both of us redshirt this last year. But even in the fall, like one thing that I have really grown to appreciate about her is like when practice is over and we come home, like in past years, I would like replay practice in my head, like talk to my roommates about it. And one thing that I've really learned from her and like grown to appreciate about just our environment at home is that we really like will rarely talk about practice when we come home, and it's like you need to have that space and like even whether it's like maybe you take the car ride home from the field and like you talk about it, but once you like get away from it, be able to just get away from it because it can be so consuming sometimes if you just relive it. And then like we even talk about this year, like both of us, we love to fish and like we go out and shoot blue rock and so like we need to do that more often because it truly is like how do we not do that? We have time. We just sit at home sometimes, but that's one thing that I really appreciate about her and I've learned slowly how to do that.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna talk about it, just, yeah, briefly.
So growing up, I never really was injured ever. Like I think the worst injury I ever had was in high school, sprained my ankle pretty bad playing basketball, but that was about it. And then, so I'll just go back to my junior year. So my junior year it was bad. In the fall, I think like a week before football practice started, I was hitting live off of RGA. She's throwing a CP and she has a nasty putter, which it like comes down and in on you, and I followed off my foot. Like next thing I knew, I was on my back looking up at the sky, and so I was thinking that really hurt lip, so I just went and iced it. Got an X-ray, not broken, perfect. So I finished the summer workout, for doing stairs and everything. And then finally, I like did the first fall practice and came off the field just in tears, like to our trainer. So we got an MRI, found out my foot was broken. And so I missed like the fall with a broken foot. And then I came back from that, started like January, February, started having hip pain. So I eventually got an MRI and then like, oh, yeah, so I was just on like anti-inflammatories like for a year because I wasn't just sit out. And it's something that like, a lot of people have to deal with. So then I finished my season, got off of anti-inflammatories and waited 6 weeks to start a throwing progression. So I go to start throwing and I literally cannot throw. Like I was trying to throw probably from like home plate to the pitcher's mound and I couldn't like it was like sharp pain back. So I got an MRI on that. oh, your shoulder ligament torn, and so eventually they were like, you can either get an injection and just play your fourth year and like deal with pain, or you can get surgery, so I ended up getting, surgery on both my shoulder and hip. So yeah, this past year has been full of tons of rehab and kind of away from playing on the field, but yeah, that was my 2 year.
So let's do rapid fire. So we're gonna end on rapid fire. So I'm just gonna keep shuffling the mic. I should probably come with it. Yeah? Does that help? I don't know if that helps or not. Okay, so rapid fire. What age, this is from Matt, what age did you start playing?
Well, I T-ball like 5, but yeah, T-ball 5, so I think probably 6.
I would say probably 6.
And Clara says, what is your pregame meal?
Anything breakfast, eggs, bagel.
Pasta, eagle. I usually get an energy drink from 7:30.
Yeah, I would say breakfast or
And Lauren says, what are your pregame warm-ups like? Like, what's your pregame vibe? Like, what do you need? Beyond just like, obviously you guys have dynamic stretches and hitting and all of this, but like, what are you doing pregame? Are you like chill? Are you get up? Where do you go?
I'm pretty chill. Last year I played on it
Is that a game? She plays a game on it.
Farming game.
Farming game.
Yeah, I'm pretty chill too. I usually listen to just like some country music on the way to the game. I always need to do some long toss.
I started out being super like calm and then realized that I really need to be quiet, so I upped it.
So that was a good segue because Max said, what is your favorite pregame song?
Gangster rap.
Wait, go back to me.
Mine's usually just country.
Yeah, I was. I'm sure I'll do that.
Sometimes. It's like Spanish music.
Look it up. Can you spell that for us? We'll put that in the chat. How about that? And then your favorite thing to do after a game.
Go out to eat.
Same.
We're all gonna eat. We're gonna go to Husker games and they're gonna take us out to eat. So this is the last question that I will ask, and this is time traveler question. So if you could go back in time at any point in your timeline, you are now a time traveler, you could go back in time and tell your past self one message. What would you tell them?
I would say not to take anything for granted. That now I'm in my junior year and I only have 1 year left. And so I think that it goes by fast, faster than you think. Everyone tells you that it goes by a blink of an eye, you don't believe it when you're younger. But I just remember how fast it went by in high school and it's done by even faster in college. So really stay in the moment and not take anything for granted.
I would tell myself to always have fun. I just remember like when you start playing when you're in T-ball, you love it because you go to practice and you get to see your friends and play in the dirt and it's so awesome. And then I think you get to like middle school and high school and like there's all these expectations. You want to play in college and like in the high school team. And so I think it should still be just as fun as it was when you were 5 and playing T-ball instead of letting all these expectations consume the fun of softball.
Yeah, same. I don't know why I like almost teared up thinking about that, but like I wish more than anything I could just go back to being 8 years old. This is embarrassing. We're live on Zoom and I'm crying. I wish I could go back to being 8 years old. I was just starting pitching. I loved softball all the time, and I would just throw to my dad, and those were truly the simple days. And so the second like I started chasing all these future goals and everything, that's when it started to become not so fun. So I would say don't lose sight of where you're at. Don't take any of it for granted. And yeah.
I would say stop trying so hard to be perfect. As soon as you start trying to be perfect and you're not, like it just sucks. You're not perfect mistakes. So I would do that, and then I always am like because I want to be perfect, I don't like to try things that push me out of my comfort zone. So, and that's in life too, like, I don't like to do things that I might fail at, but you're gonna, and like, surely the joy comes on the other side of that, and you get to see, like, yourself grow, so, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for being here. It means so much to me that you guys are sharing with such passion. It's obvious how much you guys love the game, and you guys wouldn't be here if I didn't think that it was so much bigger than softball. And you guys understand the mission of Fearless Warriors, and we really appreciate your time. So girls, I'm gonna give it up for these amazing. And all of you that were with us live on Zoom, thank you so much for joining us, and we're just gonna hang out for a little bit, so I can already, they are